James Morley is Point of Rental's first Senior Vice President of Product Management. Before he arrived at Point of Rental, he was the COO of another SaaS company for 9 years, helping design their entire customer experience, including managing product, implementation, support, and retention. When he's not optimizing processes and resources for businesses, you can find him either underwater or in the water. He's an expert scuba diver and a not-so-expert golfer. Please welcome to the stage Point of Rental's VP of Product Management, James Morley.
When you look at all of these things that we're talking about now, everything that we're looking on the roadmap, these are all driven by the feedback that we've had through customer advisory boards, product engagements, in-app surveys, surveys that our team has emailed out. And you really see two big themes of things that we're trying to do. When we look at you and say, what are the biggest problems that we can solve for you and your business? It comes down to efficiency. So your time is really money, time you spend with your customer, turnaround time, how much your staff does manual things versus you can automate them. This is one of the key pieces we keep hearing over and over again. The second is the experience that you give your customers. So every one of us is thinking about how do we deliver more value? How do we not become a commodity play? And here we see a lot of multi-generational businesses being represented where they have relationships with their customers and they want to be able to deliver that fantastic customer experience that really defines them versus the next door down the road. These are the places that you'll see that we talk about over and over again because these are the themes that we want to lean into with everything we're doing at Point of Rental. So the first thing that I want to do is lean into something that Damon started. When we talk about efficiency, many people represent that with this idea of going paperless. And where are you in driving more and more processes within your business? And so let's take a little bit of a look at where the customers that we see in this room are represented in their journey to be more paperless. So a lot of people have made investments in this, they recognize it, but they're not there yet. And this is a place that we think that we can be a better partner to you. And the place that we've really been focused in 2024 is driving more and more things into our mobile systems, being able to enable more of your users that are at the counter, at the office, tied into your drivers, your yard persona, your field personas, and how do we take more of those processes, drive it with more visibility and more accountability that leads to efficiency for you in the business. There's 4 big areas that we want to highlight this. The first one that Wayne talked about is everyone is familiar with those ubiquitous little tags that we hang all over pieces of equipment as they come back into the shop. They're written on with areas that may or may not be legible. You could look at it like a doctor's prescription to see who actually made that ready. And the visibility is very low. So we've digitized the ready tag process through POR1. We have early adopters telling us how much this has driven that accountability and that ability to go back and look at who did the work. The other piece that we want to enable for the yard is our work orders. So technicians that are ordering pieces of equipment, looking at maintenance records, et cetera, being able to kick off that work order process and follow it through in POR1. The third place that we're going to highlight and spend some time with is in the ways that we've enabled your customers through what we call Quick Link, which links back to their ability to look at their invoices, scan their purchase history, et cetera, and really drives efficiency from you to your customers and hopefully is lessening the amount of calls and support that you have to do in supporting your customers, allowing you to work on other parts of your business. And then the fourth area, once again, to highlight members of our family, we're really excited to introduce Record 360 is now a part of Point of Rental. We see a bright future together as we look to integrate the workflows and systems. And we think that these 4 areas of mobile deliver a lot of value for our customers, and we're looking forward to getting your feedback on those in just a little bit. Now, Wayne talked about the idea that one of our core values is, in our EPIC core principles, is innovative. And so anytime you're on LinkedIn or looking at any software, I'm sure you've seen artificial intelligence, the role that it may be playing in your businesses, the role that it may be playing in how you write your emails or read your emails, and in other parts of your life. And we're incredibly excited about that and the opportunity that it's going to bring us as a business to drive that same efficiency and customer experience to you. What I'm curious, before we start getting into how we're thinking about artificial intelligence, is to figure out a little bit of where we are as a group in our journey for that. So if you'll indulge me, tell me where you are in your adoption of artificial intelligence today. So if you look at the curve of technology adoption, I think what we see here is a very representative to what would you get with a normal group of people, where you have some early adopters that are leaning into this, trying to figure out how to make it work, but haven't quite figured it out. And it also seems we've got a fair amount of people waiting to let others figure it out and teach them the best practices. We think that we know we're very invested in this being an opportunity for us to change a lot of workflows, a lot of data manipulation, et cetera. But when we think about artificial intelligence and we look at the ways that we're invested in it, we're not changing how we approach other ways that we do our software development. So a lot of people latch onto a new buzzword, whether it was big data or blockchain or now artificial intelligence, and they figure out that they've got a solution and they look for the problem. Instead, we're taking the same approach that we take with the rest of our product development. We're spending time with our customers, understanding the largest problems that they have in their business and where we can apply that solution. So in 2024, we had three great experiments that we think are going to continue to drive how we see artificial intelligence. The first one was around quality, so increasing quality in workflows. And Record 360, and Jeff's going to join us in a second and give us a deeper highlight into it, has worked on blur detection. So increasing quality from taking pictures of that event, of that damage, et cetera. And rather than waiting for days or hours to go back and say, you know what, this wasn't produced at the quality that we're able to go back and show the customers that damage or what that experience was, showing that blurry picture right at the bat and pausing that workflow so that it can go back and increase quality. The second one is revenue. Everyone, of course, is concerned about revenue, increasing their opportunity for revenue. And so through the data that we've collected, we can see that when an item goes on rent, there's many times an opportunity to increase that individual transaction and deal size through what we call suggested items. So you may be renting a skid steer and have certain options for it, that hose, tubing hoses, et cetera, that the customer didn't remember to put on initially. And through suggested items, we're looking using AI to say, salesperson, suggest that they should add these things to their transaction and to their order, allowing for a bigger transaction and deal size and ultimately more revenue to you. Third piece is increasing awareness. So many of us are improving our e-commerce and our digital position. You'll hear a lot more about that from our team very shortly. But many people are not staffed to be able to take all the items in their inventory and build out that description that would allow customers to see what this thing really does, the options on it, how it could be used. And so we're using AI tools to be able to take items in your inventory and give them a better presence online, so that when consumers come and look at you, they look at your search engine optimization, all of those things improve without you having to put any additional effort into it. So we think that these are great opportunities for us to start into our AI journey, but we're still looking at big places that we think through other manipulations of data in our workflow, we can make a big impact, and we're excited to share what those look like soon.
Point of Rental's product manager for our elite software, John Wooten, has 35 years of experience in the rental industry, having worked at every level of the business, from yard attendant to CEO. He has an appreciation for the critical role every person has in the rental process. John uses that expertise to work with elite users and Point of Rental's development team to build solutions for the future of rental. Caleb Yell is Point of Rental's e-commerce product manager, specializing in automation and digitalization of rental requests through websites and customer portals. Aside from his wife, daughters, and dogs, there's nothing he loves more than helping rental companies adopt technology to win business from big box retailers and helping them build value with their customers by making digital transactions easy. Jeff Meggs leads the product team at Record 360 as the company's director of product. Before joining Record 360 in 2020, he worked in the music licensing industry, and he's built the largest musical instrument collection of anyone at Point of Rental. When he's not guiding the production of the world's leading inspection software, he's hanging out with his 2 small kids at home just outside of Seattle. Let's welcome Point of Rental's product panel to the stage.
So welcome to a few more members of our product team as we talk about what we've released in 2024 and start to look forward to the future of 2025 and beyond. I have to pause and acknowledge that one thing is not as advertised. Caleb Yell has had a series of twins in his life. He's had twin daughters that are about 6 weeks old, and he's had twin hurricanes hit the Tampa area in about 2 weeks. And so he is safe and with his family, but we think that's the better prioritization. We have Gary, who is his partner as our product owner of e-commerce, joining us on stage. And so we wish Caleb well, but Gary will have a better intro video for him in the near future. So when we talk about the journey of Elite and the modernization of it, one of the things that we've spent a lot of time on is our cloud experience. And I know that customers, we've got a huge prevalence of the amount of that have adopted our cloud, but there's still a fair amount that have it on site or managed themselves. Even in the last 24 hours, it's one of the top conversations that I've had with you as where you're hosting it, the future of it. And we want to highlight some of the things that we've spent in our cloud experience. So John, what does 2024 look like from an Elite cloud experience?
So we released Elite Cloud in 2022, and we engaged with our customers to find out how it was going, and we found 3 areas of opportunity we wanted to improve on through those engagements. One was around optimization, and so it was a little slower than people expected, so our cloud team went in and figured out in an AWS environment how to scale it based on the demand of that business, and so we improved that performance out of the gate. And then secondarily was around printing. So in that cloud environment, we rely on a VPN for these printers to work. And VPNs by nature are buggy and problematic. And so our developers built something we called Cloud Bridge. And so we've released Cloud Bridge, which allows you with an AWS environment to use this Cloud Bridge product for your printers rather than relying on VPNs. And then the last thing was around file management. And so in a cloud environment, we are in charge of your security, and we take that very seriously, which means we really lock everything down. But at the same time, we need to provide users the ability to import images and attachments so that they can be put in the right files within that cloud environment so that you have access to them. And so we built something called File Watcher that allows you to import many images at one time and then put them in the right folders so that you can have access to them within the application. And what we found is that with expert customers migrating or net new customers to the point of rental family using Elite, is that they choose the cloud environment well over 90% of the time. So it is a high priority for us, and it should be a high priority for y'all too, because the value it delivers is just tremendous. It gets you out of the IT business for the most part, which I think most people would agree is a good thing to get you out of the IT business. And then the real, wow factor is, of course, that you can open up a Chrome browser, click on a bookmark, and start using Elite right away. And so those are the value drivers, and through our customer engagements, that's landed us to where we are today. But we're not finished. We want to be your rental management software well into the future, as Wayne mentioned earlier today. And in order to do that, we want to become a more cloud-native Elite product. And so we're partnering with AWS and a company called Calent. That is a partner of AWS as well. And we're partnering with them to figure out how do we move Elite from where it is today, we've got it into the cloud, but to make it a more cloud-native product so that we can be there for you in the future.
If you're at the point where you're not one of our AWS cloud-hosted customers, which 90+% of new customers that are entering are choosing our cloud, a very high percentage of expert to Elite migrations are choosing that. If you're making infrastructure decisions about your IT, your self-hosting, et cetera, I really encourage you to come spend some time with some members of our product or our account management team and let us show you where we are on that journey. I've talked to, again, a couple of customers that have started to realize huge savings in their infrastructure of the things that they've had to put in versus now that we are hosting at a scale of hundreds of customers, what we're able to offer in terms of that whole infrastructure and getting you out of the IT business, as John spoke to. We talked about mobile being the #1 place that we're invested from a workflows and where we're spending our development time. But the number 2 place is, again, the most popular thing that's come out of customer sessions like that, which is e-commerce. Driving, as more and more of the businesses drive to digital presence, how can we be meeting you and your expectations, adding more efficiency, bringing more revenue in? And this year's been an exciting year, from 2023 consumer portal to where we've gone in 2024. Gary, tell us a little bit about our e-commerce initiatives.
Thanks, James. There seems to be a theme around twos in regarding e-commerce, and we have 2 things to talk about. And that first is this quick link side of it. The goal there was to provide options that your we'll call them consumers, so your customer's customer can access information without logging in. So that's really what Quick Link is about. We talk about near real-time and mobile first in Quick Link. So it's that mobile functionality. It's where consumers can e-sign, pay, view pertinent information about a single contract in an auto-embedded link from Elite. The second thing is on the consumer portal side. We built 2 versions of that, basic and advanced. It augments our quick link strategy, and it's where they can manage contracts, multiple contracts, see their whole history. And then it helps you focus on creating business versus chasing business, where your consumers can access that information, do everything they need to do online instead of following up for payments and emails and all that kind of stuff. The Quick Link and Consumer Portal allow your customers to do that all in one spot.
And if you're an Elite customer and you don't know it, you have the option for a consumer portal. It is part of your software. We were just rolling it out this time last year at ITC23. But if you're unaware and haven't gotten that information and don't know how to set it up, etc., Gary's your start, but there's many other people at the conference that can help you understand that better and how you can make that a powerful tool in your business. Now, of course, a big part of the initiatives we have in e-commerce are about efficiency, but they're also about getting you paid and making sure that those invoices, et cetera, and the revenue that you want to drive from these things are being helped. There's a lot that we're doing in our e-commerce about getting you paid. What does that look like for what we've done in 2024?
Yeah, 2 things on that again. And getting paid is really about starting out with how you get paid, those methods of getting paid. So credit cards and ACH. We've added, those of you that want to add credit card fees and pass those fees along to your customer. We've added that. We've added working on deposits and minimum payment due for event companies, the paid in full date kind of a thing. Working shortly, it'll come out soon on paying multiple contracts in a single transaction. So a lot of those things are going to make it faster and easier for you to get paid. And then I'd say the last part of that is, we hear this term of near real time, and we're not talking about yesterday's post or yesterday's data or news. We're not even talking about an hour ago. Product and marketing would say it's real time, but the techies in the room would say it's near real time. It's mere seconds. So just know that information is fast, it's reliable, and it's at your fingertips and at your customers' fingertips.
In the world of payment, in addition to everything that Gary said, we have our partners GPI here. If you're unfamiliar with them, they've got a sponsor booth in the back. They're helping us facilitate a number of these things that we've highlighted. The other thing that we're in the final development and early testing phase of is ACH. Cal, where are you in the room? I saw you earlier. Cal Grant, a member of our product team, red shirt with a blazer on, is leading that initiative. If ACH is something that you've been looking into, he is looking for additional beta testers. And the distinction that I'd want to make is this is not the ACH you may be familiar with, where there's a risk of funds being taken out, et cetera. We've partnered with a payment processor that is allowing us to do fraud, instantaneous fund transfers. It's tokenized ACH where we can do follow-on payments, et cetera. And so we really think that giving you that option between credit cards, the ability for credit card fees, and ACH is going to be a big driver in you being able to get paid faster and giving your customers more options. So we're excited to talk about that in additional focus groups as well. The other piece that we've talked about, coming back to John, is our number one investment has been in the mobile phase. So there's been a number of things that we've released in 2024 around work orders and ready tags. What does that look like?
So our mobile journey started with focusing on three personas: the driver, the yard persona, a yard person, and the technician. And we delivered routes for our drivers that's tightly integrated with our dispatch center. And then we started engaging with customers to talk about the yard person workflow. And of course, the ready tag process became at the forefront. Ready tags by nature are problematic when it comes to risk management and accountability or compliance processes because a lot of people don't save them, or that if they do save them, if they're going to go find one, it's a real hassle. And so we solve for that. And then the other big piece that we came across as we were talking to customers about the ready tag process was the visibility of readiness for the people that are inside the building or mobile workers. And they want to be able to see what the availability and the ready status of an item is as well. Because today what they have to do is put the customer on hold, distract a person in the yard to go find out if is this thing ready to go yet, or if they have to run out in the yard themselves to go find out. And so we're displaying the ready status in Elite as well as on the mobile app. And so a yard person can execute on that ready tag. It's now a digital ready tag. You can have images tied to it, and you can go look at it later and have that risk management or compliance discussion. And then, of course, the inside person can see the readiness of it. And then the second part we worked on, what I want to also say about the ready tags is oftentimes we hear, well, what about the ready tag that James referred to, the ubiquitous ready tag? I want to see that sea of ready tags. And I've had conversation with customers, and some people are thinking about maybe using reusable plastic tags just so they can have that visual. But there's also a lot of people who are saying, you know what, I agree. This is the new modern way to handle the readiness of a piece of equipment. So that's how we see it, is this just an evolution of that ready tag process just to a more modern method. And then for the technicians, we've come up with work orders, so the ability to create and modify a work order. And so I think everyone in the room can agree that the efficiency of technicians is paramount, to keep them with a wrench in their hand, not standing in front of a computer. So if you can put the computer in their pocket and they can create and modify work orders, that just lends to that efficiency. A yard person can fail a ready tag and open an IRO right away. People in the field can open work orders, drivers, field technicians, et cetera. So that's what we've been working on for 2024.
And like everything we do it in an iterative fashion. We have great partnership with customers that are in the room today that have given us a lot of feedback, helped us to understand what we can do better as we work on this process. Want to highlight Dave on ready tags.
We basically replaced all of our paper tags that we used to fill out by pen and paper with a digital ready tag, which is fantastic because it allows our counter staff to actually see if something's ready and not have to walk out in the yard and say, oh, yeah, there's a tag on it. Now we can actually see it from the computer and say, yeah, it's ready to go.
Dave's team not only were great partners in helping us build this out amongst others, but they were so good and so adopted that they actually broke it, and we had to go back and fix it and helped us load test what we needed to do to rewrite some of the underlying APIs. And so we appreciate Aurora Rents, their partnership, and the benefit that everybody is going to get with that. Adam at Burcon has also highlighted some of the work order work that we've done.
Here at Burcon, we use work orders within the POR1 system to really incorporate our rental return inspection standard operating procedure. It's been very, very effective and efficient for us when inputting fuel and hours in a call log format. Our rentals or dispatch department, they will see the call log with the forced acknowledgement. They will input the fuel and hours and close the contract accordingly. I am very rarely in the office, and I do a lot of remote work. And when I really want a quick glance at historical work orders and data on a piece or an asset, I can simply use POR1. It's very, very efficient for me to just pull up the unit number when I want to see what is going on with a piece of equipment, where it has been, historical data, and so on and so forth.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Sandra, and the rest of the Burcon team. Again, appreciate the partnership as we continue to work with you and iterate on it. On that spirit of iteration, as we think about improvement, what are some of the other things that we highlight of where we were in 2023 versus improvements in 2024?
So I would say there's three primary things. One was around the drivers and the route workflow. And so what we heard from our customers out of the gate was that there's a little too click heavy. It wasn't an obvious path for the driver to go through the process. And so our designers and engineers went to task and reduced the clicks by well over 50%, I think, and just made it a more obvious path for the driver. So you didn't need to really understand how POR works. You just start pushing a button and it walked you through it. Another one was around image processing. So y'all take a lot of images, thousands of images very quickly. And that's a technology challenge for us. And so, but our developers went to task and figured out how the best way to queue those up and make sure that there weren't failures and that they were consistently being saved and getting put in the right place within Elite. And then the last thing was what James alluded to with David Aurora was ready tag real time. They were making so many ready tags that it maxed out our API. But it also made it a kind of a weird experience where one yard person would see one list and they would execute on it and it wouldn't refresh the other user's screen. And so we've made that whole experience more real time. So when it drops off of one user's screen, it's immediately dropping off of another user's screen. So those were the main things.
So we're looking forward, just about every one of those have got a focus group, and so those of you that are signed up, we're looking forward to your feedback from the other early testers and early adopters, and all of those features are now generally available if you're an Elite customer to start looking if you want to incorporate them into your business. Jeff, welcome to the party. As I've said, Record 360 is one of the places that we're most excited to see where we're going in the future. We closed on that acquisition a little bit close to the end of Q1. We haven't sat back idly. We've been working together closely since then, and we're excited about the future. What have we done since you became a part of the Point of Rental family, and how are things looking?
Yeah, so hi, everybody. It's great to connect with you all, and we're really excited to be part of the Point of Rental family. And I'm personally really looking forward to meeting as many of you as possible this week. This is my first time to the conference as well, so very much looking forward to it. But a couple of things I wanted to highlight that we delivered in 2024. The first is an integration with the RMS systems at Point of Rental, and then the second is an AI blur detection feature. So first on the integration, we've been wanting to do an integration with Point of Rental for a long time, and what better time than now? So really, this is an integration that we delivered in 2024 to be simple and easy to set up to deliver value quickly. And so what it allows you to do is load your inventory into Record 360 with a simple CSV report. From there, when a user opens our mobile application to do an inspection, typically the first thing they will do is fill out a form. And with that inventory preloaded, that allows them to pre-fill some of their form fields with that inventory data, saving your team time, reducing any chance of manual data entry errors, and allowing them to move on with the rest of their day. And then once the inspection is uploaded from the unit record in Point of Rental, there is now a button that allows you to access that unit's inspection history directly from Record 360 via that link. And so this integration has been really successful so far, and we're looking forward to making improvements.
In Record 360, as we talk about artificial intelligence and look at all the different ways that we can apply it to our business, they've been one of the leaders and the first one that actually had a production-ready introduction to artificial intelligence. So tell us a little bit more about the blur detection that we've developed for Record 360.
Yeah, so for those of you who may be a little less familiar with what we do, photo and video taking is the bread and butter of what Record 360 was founded on, as Damon mentioned, and so much so that we have a couple million photos taken every week using our application. So photos are super important. And what we've found and what we've gotten feedback on is occasionally there are quality issues with that media. Maybe the person doing the inspection is just moving very quickly. Maybe there's poor lighting conditions. It could be a number of factors, but if those photos aren't of the utmost quality, that has a direct impact on the business and on any damage dispute that might result as the outcome of that inspection. And so what we really wanted to focus on with anything related to AI is use cases that are truly valuable to the business. And so we decided to focus on blur detection. And what this feature allows you to do is if you're a user in the field performing an inspection, you open up the camera in the app and it tells you in real time whether you are about to take a blurry photo. We have, a blur detection model that was built in-house that runs on the mobile device that gives the user real-time feedback as to when they're about to take a photo that might have some quality issues. But importantly, we didn't want to interrupt the process or introduce any friction because ultimately the data in your inspection is only as good as it actually getting done. And so once all the photos are taken, there's an opportunity for that inspector to review any photos that were flagged by the AI model as blurry and correct them. So they can retake them, delete them, or mark them as not blurry, which helps improve our model. And then eventually upload that inspection for someone else in the business to review, ensuring that the data quality in that inspection is top notch.
So as we said earlier with Damon, Record 360 has a huge amount of success, basically becoming the de facto leader in inspection processes for rental and other industry. But we're nowhere near done at that point. And Record 360 was very invested in the next level of their growth, even at the time that their private equity was running the process to look for new ownership. When we look at the future of Record 360 as a product, as a part of the Point of Rental family, what are the things that we're starting to see and highlight and make plans around?
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to highlight specifically here. The first is around that integration. So really the main priority in 2024 was delivering something quickly that was valuable. But we have a lot more work to do there. And over the interim, we've been collecting feedback from all of our mutual customers to try and understand, what additional value are you looking for with an integration between the RMS systems and Record 360 and how can we better enable that? So still more work to do in collecting feedback, and I'd love to hear from you all if you have thoughts there. But some things we've heard are really a deeper two-way connection between the systems. So for example, as the result of an inspection, perhaps someone wants to open a work order because damage was found or some other issue needs to be corrected. Well, that's something that doesn't exist in the integration today that we'll definitely be looking for in the future. And then another highlight is just simple automated setup, really just getting it up and going as quickly as possible and it just works. So that's an area that we're going to be focusing on, in Q4 and beyond. And really the other thing goes to kind of the core of what Record 360 is and does. So as Damon mentioned at the beginning, it was really founded on a core use case, which is identifying damage, eliminating damage disputes within a rental checkout, check-in transaction. And that's likely going to be, a part of our business forever. But over time, our customers use us for more and more across a wider breadth in their business and really stretching the capability of what we can do. And so we're looking at some of the fundamentals of how our application is built to really revolutionize how businesses document processes and events within their business from anywhere using mobile devices. And so that will mean really supporting a lot of additional use cases, everything from receiving new inventory to recurring events that happen to other things that fall well outside of a checkout, check-in process. And so everything we're driving towards in 2025 and beyond is enabling that across all of your businesses. So looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Jeff. Again, welcome. We're excited to have you and the rest of the team here. We'll work on getting you a red shirt for next year so that Brooke and Francis aren't the only team in uniform up on the stage, but great. John, when we also think about the rest of our 2024 roadmap as we get into the middle of October and look towards the end of the year, what are we focused on still delivering before the end of the year?
We got a handful of things in flight right now. So something we actually just released in .14 is something we heard at IC23, which is rich text email. And so what this does is in your email templates, it'll convert it to XHTML, and it allows you to do things like bold and text size, highlights, italics, all those fun things, just to be able to, number one, so you can brand better, but also so you can get your message across to the consumer in a better way. Another one was around texting without, sending text notifications without knowing, having to know the consumer's or your employee's telephone company. And so we're in an integration with Twilio. So you sign up for a Twilio account, you put your credentials in, and then anyone who is set to receive automated contract notifications by text will get those using that integration. And so you no longer, so you can set up a customer for contract notifications, and you don't have to ask them who their telephone company is to get them by text. Another one is percentage items. So something we heard from our Canadian customers primarily was that they were having to use their the percentage items we have in the system for government taxes. And so when they wanted to collect an environmental fee, there wasn't a great way to do it. And so now we have two types of percentage items available. And this is currently in closed beta right now, but should be released sometime in Q4. And this is two items that you can create, and they will apply a percentage fee to all of the rental items or all of the sales items on the contract. And so this, again, allows a Canadian company to get an environmental fee on all of the rental items on the contract. But what we've also heard from event companies is doing things like last minute order fees, rush order fees, and things like that. But I am sure if there's a revenue opportunity available, everyone in this room could probably come up with 100 other ways to use percentage items just to collect more fees. Another one, an exciting one, I think, is something called mobile pre-check. And so this is the kind of the final piece of the puzzle in the life cycle of a rental piece of equipment. And so from the beginning, from the time it's reserved to the time it's end, we now have you fully covered in the mobile process. And so pre-check is really a quality assurance process that a lot of rental companies have, saying, I have reservations for tomorrow. This is primarily the equipment folks. I have reservations for tomorrow. I want to go out, serialize the item, stage them, make sure everything's ready to go, stage it for the driver or for the will call customer. And so this allows you to do that digitally. So that'll be really nice. And that's going into closed beta very shortly. I'm sure it will get released in sometime in Q4. And then the last one I got is terms. So we released earlier this year, we opened up a terms days field in the customer record, which affects the consumer-facing printed invoice with a due date that takes the build date and adds the terms. And so your due date is actually the date it's due. And so what this next iterative piece of work will be is for your AR person. So when they're looking at the AR manager screen, they can check a box, and then their 30, 60, 90-day columns will use those terms days to align. And so now the value we're delivering with this is that the AR person can now have a conversation with the consumer, and they'll be aligned in what the actual due date really is when you're extending terms to those customers.
And I know that we're teed up for a really exciting Q4 with a lot of great releases. We're already starting to plan. Yeah. So as we plan out our process, we do things in a very iterative fashion. So we look at, through feedback from sessions like this, what is the problem that we want to solve? We start to build workflows. We validate those workflows with customers in conversations, et cetera. And then we go off and develop the first version of that. When we do closed betas, this is for a small group of people that have raised their hands early and say, yes, this is going to solve a great problem for my business. I've got the time and bandwidth. I want to be one of the early adopters in testing that, et cetera. We call that a closed beta group, where they get to see those features earlier, give us feedback, and we iterate on those. Once we get to a point of quality that we think that this is now ready to be released, we have what we call open beta. So this is a state where we've tested it internally. There's been a number of early adopters that have gotten to it. And so we're now confident that we can open it up to the larger customer base. But we do want to put that slight moniker of open beta so that you are aware that you are among not the first, but among the next group of customers that may want to be. There's a different threshold that every business has for how much they want to see new features and whether they want to adopt a new feature when it first comes out versus, we want to wait a certain time. So we're trying to be more transparent with you on what that looks like. So the open beta period goes on for a certain process till we reach a certain scale, a certain number of customers from different geographies, different demographics, et cetera. And we say a number of people have adopted this enough that we go into what we call GA, or generally available. So again, this is about us being transparent and communicative to you of when do you want to start adopting features. This is really exciting. I want to be on the cutting edge of it. Or, you know what, I'm interested, but I want to wait to see that others have adopted it and been a part of that. And so we want to have that two-way conversation with you. So as we think about the other things that we're teeing up for 2025, John, talk us through what we've planned out for our roadmap so far.
Okay, so we have some exciting things coming up, and these are all things that are either development ready or very close to development ready. These aren't just ideas that we're thinking about. These are things that we're really getting developers engaged to the point of really deciding how the thing will be built. Job costing is one of those. I've talked to a number of people in this room about what job costing is, and this is really about an event company being able to, primarily an event company, being able to look at an event that could be a collection of one or many contracts and be able to predict the profit contribution on that whole event. And it really comes down to the logistics costs, right? That's where you can get tripped up really easy. So this allows your team to be able to look at this event in a holistic way, decide what the logistics are going to take, what it's going to cost, and then predict that so that you can then make sure that you're pricing it to the consumer in a profitable way. So that's on the coming up very soon. And then driver fulfillment, and many event companies in the room have been looking for a great reason to use POR1. Mobile Workforce has been a great tool to use for driver fulfillment, but it's not real time. And so now we're going to be delivering driver fulfillment in POR1. So it'll be real-time fulfillment for the driver at the venue. Next is a Samsara integration. So this will be akin to a TSO integration. It'll be integrated with our dispatch center, and it'll provide those arrived and departed notifications using the Samsara in-truck devices instead of the TSO ones. Or in addition to, it's just a different integration. And then also coming up is Rouse Rates and Elite. So we have a number of equipment companies that subscribe to Rouse, and they don't really appreciate having that swivel chair experience where they really want to be able to make decisions within Elite using the Rouse rates, but they have to keep going back and forth between the applications. And so this is about being able for those people subscribed to Rouse to being able to see those Rouse rates within the Elite product so they can make all those decisions on the fly using the Rouse rates. Another one is contract attachments. So this is another one where a driver will need to have access to, say, the venue layout or other documents in the POR1 app. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is e-commerce storefront 2.0. So this is what Gary talked about a little bit. And this is just a more modern e-commerce approach to your consumers to have a better web experience.
So we're really excited about those things we've got teed up. There is still plenty of capacity as we think about 2025, and we hope a lot of the conversations that we're going to have here over the next few days really drives what we're going to focus on. We've got our team here. Again, John is our product manager for Elite. His partner is Ashley in the back of the room in the blue blazer. So as you think about anything from an Elite conversation, those are your go-tos. Jeff is our product manager for Record 360. As you look at future integrations and whether adopting Record 360 makes sense for your business, I encourage you to come to him. Gary is our product owner for e-commerce. So if you have questions about QuickLink, adopting consumer portal, the future of storefront, and how we think about that being a launch pad for other things we want to enable your customers to be able to do, please come talk to him. A few other people that, just to make the stage not crowded, but are important in the product team. Martin Baugh is in the back corner there. He's our Point of Rental 1 and our mobile product owner. So those of you that have adopted POR1, considering POR1, et cetera, he's your go-to to go have conversations about that. I see Cal is continuing to be a little bit of elusive, but Cal Grant is in a black blazer. He's responsible for all things payments. So as you think about, does it make sense for us to look at credit card fees? I want to know more about the new ACH that you have coming out. How does this incorporate into the rest of how I look at payments through Point of Rental? He's your go-to contact for that. And I think a number of you are signed up for our Power BI workshop, which Woody in the back corner is leading. So we are really eager to spend the next few days getting your feedback, understanding what brings value to you and what we need to be focused on in the future. So thank you all for attending, for your time and attention, and we appreciate the investment you're making as well.